One of the biggest skills more so than not practice is emergency braking. You see plenty of videos of bikers get cut off, a car comes out of nowhere, and their first reaction is to jam on their brakes without understanding on how to. I'm going to show you how to do emergency brake and how to practice emergency brake so you understand your bike and how it reacts to an emergency. Because it reacts much differently than a standard stop that does this versus something like that. One of the first fundamentals when it comes to learning on how to emergency brake on a bike is understanding how your suspension feels and your brakes. Harleys are notoriously bad with brakes. They have really bad brakes notoriously. And their suspension is jello, to say the least. And this is an upgrade suspension. Stock one was even worse. This is gonna help me when it comes to emergency brakes because I will know how my bike's gonna react. When I'm gonna have a lot of fork dive, I'm gonna really have to jam my brakes. I have to pull them almost all the way down in order to get any reaction out of them. Most of like a really nice sport bike, all you need is 2 fingers and a little bit of pull. Now it'll be enough to lock up the front or send you over the bars. You need to learn and practice this because that can lead to an accident worse than if you just bumped into that car and doing a less of an emergency brake. So these are skills you need to practice and things you understand about your bike. So let's get into just practicing the emergency brake. First thing I always practice when it comes to emergency brakes, the regular brakes. See how the bike feels kind of pushing on it hard, but not an emergency. Seeing that I can tell that my bike is easily nosediving, struggling to stop, is a great indicator to teach myself to see that's how it's going to react if I push harder. So now we're going to go from a 40 mile per hour, just jam on the front and stop as fast as I physically can. That wasn't full brake power, but you can easily see that my bike is still struggling to stop even at that speed. That is me knowing my bike because in an emergency, I will now know to be more careful with my bike and keep more distance with cars because of my bike's very brake problems by nature of a Harley. So we're gonna go one more time. This time you might lock up the rear. I'm just gonna when I find myself finding that limit of brake, that's when I can stop the fastest. You can tell I learned to hit 40, I stopped that much faster with barely any brake lockup. This is why I always say to practice, 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 because in an emergency, that extra 10, 20 feet can be the difference between a bad day in the hospital or just a mildly annoying occurrence on the streets.